Hi everybody. I just want to make a quick video kind of going over, hey, what's going to be on the AP test? How do we take the AP test? What the heck is going on with the AP test? So to start off, when is the AP test? I'm kind of making this video for both my classes because the information beyond this point is going to be the exact same. But so for AP Physics 1, the test is going to be Thursday, May 14th at 3 p.m. So Thursday next week. And then for AP Physics 2, we have Wednesday, May 13th at 11 a.m. So I know that's a little bit early, but it could be worse. You could live in like California and have to take it at like 9 a.m. or somewhere else because they're doing everything at the same time. So like international students have to take it at like 2 in the morning, which is not good. But so the actual test starts at 3 p.m. and then 11 a.m. For those respectively. Make sure you log into the exam site 30 minutes before the test starts. So they want you in there, ready to go, so you're not like rushing, you're not worried. You do have to like kind of input some information about yourself just to verify that's you before you take the test. So that's kind of what that 30 minutes is for. And then if we're looking at like what the format is, so we've known this for a little bit. The format of the test, there's 2 questions on it. One of them is going to be 60% of your test score, and that's a qualitative-quantitative translation question. So one where you're looking at like math and thinking, okay, well, what is this actual? What do these equations mean? Or if this thing is this thing going to increase or decrease? Why? So kind of something like that, and explaining, hey, what's the physics behind this? And then the second one is 40%, and it's a paragraph length response type question. And then the only other content piece that I know about the test, they said this in the like a teacher thing that I went to. They said you won't be asked to graph anything. So if you're worried about graphing something, you will not have to graph something. I don't know if that means there's no graphs. You may have to analyze a graph, but you will not be graphing anything. So that's kind of good. Graphing's that's a little tedious. All right, so then how do we actually take the AP test? If we do want to take it, how do we do it? So step number 1 is you're going to get an AP exam ticket. So probably, hopefully, if your contact information is good with the College Board's website, then 2 days before the exam, you'll be emailed your e-ticket from the College Board. So if you're signed up with Google or AP Classroom, which I think everybody is, you're enrolled for the exam and you'll get one of these e-tickets from the College Board. So 2 days before the exam, you'll be emailed this. If you're taking multiple AP tests, you'll get multiple e-tickets. They're unique to that exam. So here's like an example of one for a person named Allison Smith. This is their ticket for biology. So you would get a ticket specific for AP Physics 1 or AP Physics 2, and then other e-tickets depending on if you're taking other exams. So if you don't get this e-ticket in your email 2 days before the exam, no worries. You can still access the ticket. You'll be able to access it by going to myap.collegeboard.org. So if 2 days before the exam, maybe check 1 day before and say, hey, did I get this email? If you didn't, look at this myap.collegeboard.org website, and it should be in there. My website for that looks a lot different than yours for that, so I don't know where it is in that website, but hopefully it's fairly obvious. I'm sorry, I don't know where it is in that because mine gives me like all the teacher stuff, which is different than your stuff. And then another thing, don't share your e-tickets. It's unique to you. It's with your AP ID. So if you share it, they won't let you take the exam. It'll kind of cancel your exam and whoever you shared it with. And then to actually take the test. So on that e-ticket that either is going to be emailed to you or will be in your College Board website, it's going to have a link to the exam. So here's kind of a picture, or no, sorry, over here, we got a picture of it. I think this one shows the screen. So it says right there, like click here to go to your exam. So you'll do that. You'll click there, and it will bring you to this website that has this right here on it. It'll say AP 2020 exam, and then you'll be prompted to enter your AP ID. And then again, you're going to do this 30 minutes before the scheduled exam time. Click on that link, use your e-ticket to get here, put in your AP ID, and then it'll just ask you a few questions like your name, your address, your birth date, just to verify that you are the one that's going to take the test. Then a little timer is going to start, and then when that timer gets to 0, your exam will begin automatically. So then you'll be brought to question 1. You'll have 25 minutes to complete and submit question 1. So the final 5 minutes, the timer will turn red, and it'll say, hey, make sure you start thinking about submitting or uploading your response. You can't move on to question 2 until the time is up. And they're very, very strict. They're very like, hey, you have to make sure that you submit before that 5 minutes is up. So 25 minutes to complete and submit. So after 20 minutes of actually doing the test or doing the question, the timer will turn red and say, hey, start thinking about submitting. And then we'll talk about what that submission looks like in a second. But make sure you have to submit before that timer goes up. You won't have another chance to submit it. So then how do we actually submit the question? So this is one of the most weird parts, one of the most confusing parts. So there's 3 different ways that you can answer the questions. I'm going to go over all of them. They, in the teacher thing that I went to for like science teachers, they highly recommended option 2 for like everything that's not calculus. For calculus, they're like, maybe do option 3. But for everything that's not calculus, they recommended option 2. So option 1 is going to be you copy and paste your typed responses directly into the question in your browser. So when you insert your AP exam ID and you get to that website, it'll show the question, and then there will be spots to actually input your answer. So they're saying option 1 is you just type it in a Google Doc, copy and paste those words, and put it right into the AP website. Option 2, the one they recommend, is do all of your work in a Google Doc, and then you're going to download that Google Doc and just attach it. Option 3 is you're going to write your answers and upload a picture of your work. So you'll have to do everything on your phone, which is annoying. So you'll have to have the question pulled up on your phone and then take a picture on your phone and then input it from there. So that one seems like the worst way to go, especially if you have like messy handwriting. It seems like the one that the most things could go wrong. So just kind of a quick little overview. Again, I'm not going to go over 1 and 3 too much, but we'll look at this for 2. But if you do choose to do option 1, you're going to just copy and paste your typed responses and click submit. You're going to use a laptop or a desktop, so just like your Chromebook. Type your answers in Google Doc, save your work often, don't put images in it. At the top, you're going to want to put in your AP ID and your initials. When the timer has 5 minutes remaining, copy and paste it. So what they're saying, when you do this, you're going to have your kind of split your screen into 2 things. One side is the question, and then one side is where you're doing your Google Doc, and then you're just typing, and then copy and pasting them over. You guys know what I copy and paste. And then one thing also, they made a huge deal of this in the little thing that I went to. The president of the college board was like, you can use any browser you want, but don't even think about using Internet Explorer. So don't use Internet Explorer. I don't think you were going to. But if anybody really wants to use Internet Explorer to do this, don't. All right, so then option 2, this is the one that they highly recommended. What they have you do is you're going to type your answers in a Google Doc or a Word document, probably a Google Doc because we're going to be using our Chromebooks. And then, yeah, don't include images, save your work, save your document as one of the accepted file formats. So we'll look at that, but there's that option that says File, Download As. You can either download it as a .doc, .docx, PDF. Yeah. With this, one thing that you're going to do is at the top of your page, you're going to type your AP ID and your initials. So that's going to be important. Make sure that you have this AP ID and your initials at the top of your page, just so they can identify it. And then again, when the timer has 5 minutes remaining, you're going to attach your responses and click submit. There's 2 questions, so you're going to have 2 separate documents, one for question 1, one for question 2. We'll look at this submission process a little bit later. But yeah, so one question for the window and then one for the Google Doc. And then just download that document and submit it. Then the third one, again, not loving this option. They didn't really recommend it. You're going to, open up the test on your phone, write your answers on an 8.5 by 11 sheet with dark pen or pencil. Make sure that it's very legible. When the timer has 5 minutes left, you're going to take a picture on your phone and then submit from your phone. Again, I don't know. If you want to take this route, go for it. I just think that they're going to have the toughest time grading it, and it's going to be like tricky to submit and do everything on your phone. So I'm not really going to go over this one. One thing too, if you are doing this option 2, which again is recommended, make sure you're labeling each question. There's going to be a lot of parts we see on AP tests in the past. Like they have these questions that are split up into part A, part B, part CI, CII. Make sure that you're labeling that so they know what you're answering. Okay, so you don't have to like retype the question and be like, okay, here's this question, here's the answer to it. You're submitting your answers, but make sure you label what that answer is going to. So make sure it's, hey, for part A, I'm labeling it as A. And then, what is this for? Yeah, okay, so one thing that they do say, this seems a little extra, but whatever. They want you to prepare your documents ahead of time. So in that like 30 minutes, I guess, before you're ready to take the test, one thing that they want you to do is to have a Google Doc ready. I guess this makes sense. Have a Google Doc ready, put your AP ID on the top, put your initials at the top, and just have that ready to go. Maybe have it already named as like question 1 and then question 2. So have that ready to go so you're not like scrambling. You only have 25 minutes, so they want you to like have that Google Doc open, have it ready, and then be ready to like have your initials and your ID up there already, so you don't have to type that while you're doing the test. And then, yeah, make sure that you're saving it with a clear name, so something that people would actually know what that is when they open it up. So like AP Physics 1, question 1, or AP Physics 2, question 2, or AP Physics 1, question 2, AP Physics 2, question 1. But make sure that you're labeling it and naming the document in a smart way. And then submitting your responses. It's going to be a 2-step process where one of the steps is hitting submit. They made a big deal that you have to hit submit. If you don't hit submit, your answer will not get submitted, and that question will count as a 0. So you're going to have this, again, we'll see this a little bit later, we'll actually be able to do it, but you'll attach your response, so you'll download your file as a Google Doc or a PDF, you'll download it, you'll hit attach document, then you have to hit this yellow submit button. If you don't, it won't count, and that'll be a 0. So you have to hit submit, and it will tell you, hey, you did it, good job, you hit submit. So you have to make sure that you hit submit. So then when you're actually taking the test, what are you allowed? You're allowed to use an AP equation sheet, just like we've done in all of our tests in the class. One thing too, like it's going to be hard to write out these equations, right? We don't want to type out the equations. I'm in the process of retyping the equation sheet, so I'll send that out to you as like a PDF, and you'll be able to just copy and paste those over. So if you want to reference an equation in your answer, you totally can. I'll post this in Classroom. But yeah, the equation sheet that they posted, you can't copy and paste it. You can't copy and paste equations. So I'm going to do that so you guys have that. You'll have the equation sheet. Hopefully it'll look like the equation sheet that we're used to. But yeah, copy and paste those equations over if you want to reference them. You're allowed to use a calculator, and then you're allowed open notes. So you can do whatever you want pretty much, which is tricky. So pretty much what they're banking on is, yes, you have a whole wealth of information available to you, but they're banking on the idea that you only have 25 and then 15 minutes, so you won't have enough time to look things up. That's kind of what they're saying. So you can use any resource you want. You cannot talk to other people, so don't have like a Zoom call open. Don't have somebody else in the room taking it with you. They said in the thing that I went to, they said, we have ways of knowing if you're doing this or not. I don't know what those ways are. I don't know if that was just the thing that they say to like scare you. I don't know. But they have ways of knowing if you are talking to other people, so don't do it. Then the other one is don't copy and paste stuff from websites. So if you do like find, oh, okay, I want to copy and paste this definition of Newton's second law or something like that, don't do that. That'll be plagiarizing. And they said that they'll narc on you to college admissions offices if you do that. They'll say, okay, well, we'll send admissions offices your name and say, this person is dishonest, don't let them into college. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, and then kind of things that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking about making like a quick kind of like Google Doc guide where you can just hit Control F and try to find things if you do, like if you're completely lost on a concept, you've exhausted everything that you needed, and you're like, okay, I still have time, I don't know, I don't remember about this. Maybe I'll just kind of scan through this document and look for some quick little ideas. So I'm thinking about making that. I don't know what it's going to look like because I don't want it to be too long and I don't want you to be like too reliant on it. So I'll think about that and post it on Monday or Tuesday, I guess Monday, and we'll see what that looks like. I'll definitely make like kind of a form that says, hey, this is our response. This is kind of the structure for paragraph length responses like we had when we were doing them in class, just so we can get that structure down. And then the equation sheet that I just mentioned. One thing with this is you're going to have to download all these documents. You can't have them like in the live Google Doc. I'll put them on Classroom in a way so like you can't see other people's stuff. So I'll probably make it like an assignment, and then I'll say make a file for each student, just because you can't be in a shared Google Doc during this, because they'll know and then they'll void your test. Then the testing environment, make sure that you're doing this in like a quiet room, let people know not to bother you, make sure that your device is like plugged into the power. And then one thing that the president of the college board said during this thing, he said, make sure that people aren't playing Fortnite while you're doing the test because it'll slow down your internet. That was a direct quote from the college board. I don't know if other games are okay, but don't let people play Fortnite while you're taking your AP test. I don't know. Alright, so then some things that could go wrong. If you lose access, like if your computer shuts down or something, what you can do is you can click the e-ticket again to return to the exam and just continue everything like normal. If the disruption was so bad, if it messed you up to a point where you felt like you didn't have a fair shot at the test, you can request a makeup. So there will be a form afterwards that said, hey, you got disconnected or something happened. Do you want to be able to take the makeup test? So they'll void what you did then. And then if you do submit this makeup request form within 48 hours, then you'll be enrolled for the test in June. So like the makeup, the later date one. One thing that they did say is don't hit the back arrow or refresh your browser during this. You don't need to do that, and it'll just increase the chances that something gets messed up. So don't hit back, don't refresh. Yeah. So then, yeah, this is all kind of confusing. There's a lot going on. One thing that they did do that was really helpful is they kind of made this demo website. So I'll post a link to this website when I post this video, but it's ap2020examdemo.collegeboard.org, and it pretty much is just like this very general website, but it shows you exactly what's going to happen when you're taking the test. So exactly what this looks like. So I like this because I feel confident like going in there and be like, oh yeah, I can do this. This isn't that bad. So when you click on this website, it'll bring you to the thing that you'll see on the actual test day. It'll say enter your AP ID. So right now we don't have the AP IDs. We don't have those e-tickets. So you can just hit practice. And if you hit practice, it'll bring you to the next screen. It'll bring you to what you'll see on the AP date. So it'll bring you to a spot where you have to wait for a long time. They make you wait for like 5 minutes, which is like, okay, I get it. It's the 30 minutes before the test. But they do make you wait a while, whatever. But during this time when you're waiting, you'll input your personal information. So your name, your address, your birthday, just to kind of verify that that's you. Or maybe not your address. They didn't have me do my address. Email address. That's what it is. And then now's a good time to input your Google Doc. Or prepare your Google Doc. So make sure that you have, again, your initials and your AP exam ID number at the top of each page. Maybe just make it like a header. Then you're good to go. And then you'll have to wait for the exam to start, just like you will on the actual test day. And then what they want you to do is do this side-by-side view where you have the test on one side and then your Google Doc on the other side. And yeah, so this is what you're going to see on the actual test day. Your test begins, and they show you question 1. And you'll say, okay, I got question 1 on one side, and then here's my Google Doc where I'm actually typing out the answers. So they were like, oh, talk about a book that you like. Yeah, after I took this screenshot, I realized that like I have way too many tabs open. Don't have this many tabs open on the actual exam day. Just do the 2 tabs. It'll make things easier. But yeah, so they were like, write about your favorite book or the book that you read. So they gave me like 5 minutes, and I was like, well, I have to wait. So I wrote a little essay about my books. And then what you're going to do is when the timer ticks down to the final 5 minutes, it'll turn red and it'll say, okay, this is how much time you have left to submit. If you don't submit in this amount of time, we're going to keep on going without you, and this question will be a 0. So that's not good. So make sure you submit it. So you're going to go to on your Google Doc, File, Download, and you can download it in any of these file formats. They'll accept Microsoft Word, so the .docx, or a PDF. I did a PDF because I like it a little bit better. It doesn't get as messed up. But yeah, you can submit it in either PDF or docs. So download it as that. And then it'll say, hey, here's a spot to attach your response, and you can choose how you want to do it. So if you chose that option 3, you'll attach the photo, or you'll click the thing that says attach text file, and you'll be able to attach your PDF or your .docx and submit it. And then again, make sure you hit that yellow submit button. If you don't hit the submit button, your thing won't be scored. Your answer won't be scored. And then the same thing happens for question 2. You'll be brought to question 2. You'll get the same exact thing. You'll have a new Google Doc. So new Google Doc that you'll submit. Don't do it on the same one. And then, yeah, so question 2, same thing, but less time. So what to expect, what the exam's going to look like, we don't know. Nobody really knows except for the people who made it. But so one thing that they did say is that there's going to be more parts to the exam than there usually is. Usually we see it go from like A, B, C, and D. They said there's going to be more parts. So there's going to be a lot more parts to make points up. So one thing that they really stressed was this idea that you don't have to complete all the parts to get a 5. They said focus on trying your best at the parts that you do know, and then go back and be like, okay, these are some parts that I didn't know, and put something down, but don't worry. Don't feel like you have to complete every single one. So don't feel like you have to do parts A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Just make sure that you do a good job on the parts that you do know. They really, really stress this idea. You don't have to do all the parts to get a 5. You can still get a 5 without completing all the parts. That being said, if you do like one part well and then don't do the rest, you won't get a 5. But make sure to do as much as you can, as good as you can, and don't stress if you don't get to every single question. And then, kind of a question that's probably on your mind, should you take the test? I think you should. I think they seem pretty confident that colleges will accept it. They have quotes from like a bunch of different colleges being like, yeah, sure, whatever, we'll take it. So they seem to think that colleges will take it. I personally, I'm not going to make any statements saying your college will definitely take it because I don't know that. But they seem pretty confident that colleges will accept it and they're like understanding of the situation. And also that it's a good chance to see what you've learned. And one thing that they did say is it won't be any harder than usual to receive credit. They said it'll be just like a regular AP test in terms of receiving credit. So it's not going to be like harder than usual. So you'll still have an opportunity to get credit. And then if you don't want to take it, if you said, okay, well, this format's not really working for me, or I just feel like I just forgot stuff, I don't know, whatever the reason is, if you don't want to take it, all that you have to do to not take it is not take it, okay? So if you don't want to take the test, just don't take it. Don't open up your exam ticket, don't go to the website, and don't put your AP ID in there. That's it. So if you do that and you don't take it, they'll send you another ticket saying, hey, you didn't take the first test, that means you want to do the makeup test. Here's your AP ticket or your e-ticket for June. And then if you don't do the June one, it'll refund your account and there won't be a cancellation fee. So that's not me endorsing not taking it. Again, I think that you should take it. But if you just decided, oh, I don't want to, that's your option. That's how you don't take it. If you don't want to, if you want to get that $90 or something back, I forgot what the fee is. But again, I think you should take it. I think it's a good opportunity. See what you learned, and it's kind of fun to challenge yourself like that. So yeah, that's kind of it. If you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, I'll keep you updated about the test stuff. All right.